Alright, well, then I guess we have to come up with a plan either way. And it's just considered a loan, right?
Exactly,
So
Yeah.
we'll have to determine what the terms of that's gonna be.
yeah.
And then if they do get the loan from, Intercap, then they can just pay it off, right?
Exactly.
And then make their payments that way.
And she has found more that Department of Revenue is missing. I still think that is a huge hole.
It is.
Huge. It's compounded annually. Once we get that squared away, I think it will help us tremendously, but we're still paying back from
Right,
3, maybe 4 years ago.
right.
The 1 year Brian went through, he found, I think it was 45, or 42. He found a big chunk of money.
Mhm.
I just think after that it didn't get assessed. So, I know Roz was here working with Mary. My hope is with Roz we can get that straightened out, because I think it's money that they're not assessing it.
Mhm.
So if you take an infill of 70,000, district court is short, are they gonna continue to still be short?
Mm-hmm. If we can get them another mill, that should help straighten them out. They didn't have, I don't think they had any trials last year. That helps. But of course, everything except for food for the jury is reimbursed. So it's really what we pay for district court is the office space, the equipment, and the personnel.
So none of the 70 is reimbursable either, huh?
Correct. And it is where my hesitation of increasing the personnel hours came from, is if you're running in the negative, quit shoveling. If we can't get that other $500,000 for district court, we may have to rethink what we discussed today.
Does the hospital district have an elected 2 mills, or they just get 2 mills?
They get, I think it's 2.33 mils goes to them. If there is a buyout of the hospital, then that's certainly something we can look at, because I don't know that there would be that requirement
Mhm.
anymore. So that could be an ace in the hole for us at this point. If there isn't, then that's the money that would be spent to repair. That's the $100,000 that was in PILT that would be used to repair the AC or a bathroom, or,
Yeah.
because that is our responsibility to take care of that building.
Is there gonna be any funding involved with the cleanup of the ambulance building? Or is that all covered?
It sounds like that is 100% covered. So that's good. If it isn't, it is the hospital district's building, but we are partnered, so that would be a debate that we'd need to have. But no, it does sound like it's gonna be 100% covered. And we have that in writing.
If there was a buyout there and those people came in and got the hospital building, could the district then sell those 2 lots to that person? Because they wouldn't transfer with the hospital.
Right, it could be separate, it could be connected. It would depend on their agreement. The hospital district would have to, for their lot, say, yeah, we're interested in throwing this in. But the parking area, that's the county's, that's ours.
No, but there's another lot there that the district
D?
owns,
Yeah,
over on the alley.
yeah, yeah,
So
they
those-
could throw that in, same
They could
story.
considerably sell both of those.
Mhm. Yep,
But then where would that money wouldn't go to the general fund, would it?
no.
Where would it go?
It would go to, probably to pay off hospital debt.
Well,
I can't imagine they'd wanna do that, I think they'd wanna keep it simple, but yeah, it would be part of their package, and then it would become, whatever that company is, their asset to use as they want.
that would have to be part of their negotiation.
Right, yeah.
So even if they kept the hospital district, which I'm thinking that they're going to keep the hospital district still in force, they wouldn't have any need for funding, would they?
That's just it, they're talking about keeping it in force, just because it would be really hard to restart it again. But yeah, they probably would be just a board that would need to meet, I think it's once a year that the law
Annual.
requires, and that's it.
Mhm.
But they probably wouldn't have anything active to do at this point. If something changes down the road, then we'd have that entity already set up to address that.
Sure.
Yeah, and then at that point, I would think that 2.33 mils would come back for us to use elsewhere. And that could happen as early as August or September.
So would you have to do a budget amendment to include those mills in the budget then?
Mm-hmm.
You just switch the mills where they go from.
Yep. And that would be pretty easy for Debbie.
We won't know what we get for mills until August, right?
First Monday of August, I believe, is the date.
Okay.
Yeah. And in law, it's worded funny, like the first Monday after the first Tuesday,
Yeah.
if not before. And then we have 30 days to adopt
The
the
first
budget.
Monday after the first Tuesday in September?
In August. If not before. So last year, we got it the Friday before even the first Monday, I think it was like the 1st of August or something. It was the 3rd of August. We got it early, which is a blessing and a disguise. If you're not ready to go and you get those values, that clock starts, you got 30 days to adopt the budget, whether you're ready or not.
Mhm.
So that's why we try and have so much done with the budget. By the time we get the values, a lot of things get shuffled, but at least you have a foundation.
Right.
And for us, that is not necessarily our crunch time, it is, but that is the crunch time for Debbie. That's when Debbie goes as close to insane as anybody can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we actually have a pretty good base, to be honest with you. Everybody submitted a pretty good budget. Pretty, for the most part.
Yeah,
We'll get some of these other ones sorted out on Wednesday.
yeah. Some of what Debbie sent out this weekend had me a little bit cautious.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been feeling pretty good about this budget season overall.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried that we don't have the preliminary done. That'll come,
It will.
so.
So what's
Yeah.
it take for us to get into a different budgeting type of process as far as for having funds, say from the previous year, knowing, how do I wanna state this? These guys, say we can say, you expect I'll just throw a number out there, 2% or a 3% budget increase based on what we have. To make this process so much easier, all they can do is take their current budget, add 3%, that's what it is preliminary. We get our mills and then we adjust it from there.
We kinda have that now. We tried in 2013, what we did is we dedicated a number of mills to each department with that very idea. Nancy Everson
Right.
came down and trained Debbie in this. So public safety had this number, general fund had this number, airport had this number. And what we told every department is, if the value of the mill goes up, you have a little bit extra to spend.
Right.
And annually, depending on, we did an analysis every year of what was going on in the county and said, plan on 2% more, plan on 1% more, plan on 3% more. And then if the value of a mill goes down, then you
Sure.
tighten your belts. Well, 2 years ago, last year, you know, when Mason Moore was murdered, what we did is we went in, we had told everybody, go ahead and plan on this.
Right.
We got a 9% increase. Department of Revenue came in like a week later and said, yeah, but we're gonna take away these mills.
Right.
It didn't happen at the same time. So what happened was, we had the sheriff's office that was reeling from what had happened, as you can well imagine they would. And what we said as a commission is, okay, fine. They can keep their 9% increase. We're not gonna touch that. We're gonna take it from everybody else. So we went in and we took money from departments that had a surplus, departments that didn't have a surplus. We shaved everybody else down to 0 to offset so that these guys could have the 9% increase. That's one of the reasons we have so many department heads, and they're not gonna come to a public meeting and say this, but they're feeling abused by us, that we took all that money from them with a promise that, you know, if this is a one-time thing, it's been a 2-year thing, and we've got district court saying, hey, I'm 70 grand in the hole. Extension, I've got a deficit. So, this is the year that we need to re-solidify that. We kinda reset it up last year, but they were still working in arrears because of what I think we were forced to do in order to do the right thing for people who were hurting beyond hurt.
Well, and I know the centrally
So-
assessed thing really
Oh, yeah,
killed that, you know, as far as we're trying to get that back.
yeah, and you'll see in PILT, we
Yeah.
use PILT to infill
Right,
because of that,
right,
yeah.
okay. All right, well,
So,
I guess if we're trying to work towards that, then
yeah,
that'll make life easier.
and it's still there.
Yeah.
But what happens is you have strong personalities that come in and they don't accept no for an answer. And then you have softer personalities that when they're told no, they say, okay, I'll make it work. Well, we need to be applying standards equitably, not based on who's the stronger personality and who isn't, but based on our analysis of those budgets and those departments and what they do.
Okay.
So, yeah, how to get it easier, I think this is, I'll tell you 2 things. This is one of the better budget years that I've been through in years. Easily 6+. The way the budget worked when I first got here is we literally got we got the tax levy requirements report, which is 3 pages. We got 1 page. And we were told, here's the budget. It was extremely easy, and department heads were told, you were here for a while, during that time, for all that time, this is the money you have to work with, make it work. And this was all done behind the scenes. So, that commission, at the time, Gail Venice, Elaine Gravely and I said, we don't have a clue what's going on, this isn't gonna work. So we opened up the whole process to the
Mhm.
public, to the department heads, to the commission, and that's what we have today.
Right.
Easier? Yeah, we become dictators and put somebody else in charge of telling people what to do. It's easier, it's a lot easier, and we didn't have nearly the complaints. I don't think it's a good way to go. I think this is much more messy, but it's messy by design because that's how you get public participation. When we, and I told you this before, when Eric Bryson was here and he was talking to different departments, what he kept hearing is, they don't tell us enough about the budget. When he called me, he said, you guys have really opened up your budget process, haven't you? And I said, yes. He said, first thing you get are complaints. Anytime you are more open, more transparent, you have more people saying, you're not transparent enough. So, I guess it's a backdoor compliment.
So do we got anything else then?
I do have a couple of small things. So, the Bureau of Reclamation wanted a, second railing, hand railing, put on the ramp going down to the docks at the silos. Sharon asked me if we wanted that. She said, if you do, it needs to be paid out of the sinking fund. Are you guys good with that? If not, I'll tell her no. It is a BOR requirement, so we would be going against our managing partner. But that is what it's for, is maintenance on the silos, docks, gazebos, and campground.
How much is it?
It's gonna be thousands, probably $2,000 to $3,000 to build that. She's got a welder who's a mobile welder, he's here in the county. He does have a W-9 in upstairs, so we can go ahead and contract him, with him, she'd handle it, all that. And then he'd take it already welded to the site and assemble it. One of the reasons for that is safety, because there's people down there. He doesn't wanna be working with boaters going back and forth.
Guess I'd like to know what the firm amount is, I don't want it to be open-ended.
And I don't know that they have that, but I would invite you to maybe talk with Sharon, and she can get that from Cliff. So I'll tell her just to kinda wait to hear back from you guys, maybe we can revisit this next week. Teresa, she and I talked, the school is gonna do their own immunization tracking. She is concerned that they don't understand what a big lift this is going to be, but she said that Diane is spending almost every day on only that and doesn't have time to do her own work. So she either needs to have the school pay for Diane's time, which is minimal as compared to what other counties and schools have worked out, or to let Diane do other stuff. So she said she saw it as a win on this. She does expect the school will come back next year and say, we don't have
handle
to,
this.
exactly, yeah. So the farmer's market, and I need to talk to Debbie about this, but every other county that has this particular grant from DPHHS, what they have is a separate account where it's $50 here, $50 there to the farmer's market vendors. The contract says that they will be paid immediately. Our system is at least 2 weeks. So she would like to do it the same way as the fair does. The fair gets a check, they cash it, and they use that cash to pay the people for their red ribbons, their blue ribbons, that kind of thing. They like to do the same process for the farmer's market. You guys have any issue with that if I talk to Debbie?
Are we paying back what the seniors, is this program that the seniors on, is that what we're doing?
Exactly, it's for
Yeah.
low-income seniors and it
Right.
pays them to buy fresh produce at the
Mhm.
farmer's market. Yeah. So she has a model that other counties use and would like to also bring that forward. I think that's it. There was something else with Teresa, but I can't remember what it is. So, that's it from me.
Okay, so I guess we will recess to a closed door.
and I would say because the rights of the individual far outweigh the rights of the public to know.